So today on the podcast, I've got Jermaine Donkor, who's at IFBB Pro. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good. I'm tired at the moment because I've got another show coming up. But no, nevertheless, I'm good.
Good
Thank you.
stuff. And you've just come back from Miami, right?
Yes,
So
Miami.
that was competing in the IFBB Pro Miami Men's Physique.
Yeah, so men's physique is the category. It was the Miami Pro show, which is one of the biggest shows on the circuit, which I wanted to do just to try and test myself to see where I really stand in the world. Yeah.
So let's start with that. How did it go? Obviously, you've only been back, I think it's probably a week, 2 weeks or
Yeah,
something
about
since you've been
2
back.
weeks now, 2.5 weeks. It went well, to be fair.
You were up against some serious athletes, by the way. Let's just say the best of the best.
Yeah, some of the best in the world, with Brandon Hendrickson and Andre Dayu, which was an honour just to stand up there with them, to be fair. I was getting a bit starstruck as well. But nevertheless, the result that I had was a great achievement. I came 11th out of 30.
Wow.
But the top 10 that beat me, they were all Olympians.
Wow.
So I know I've never been at Olympia, so I can't moan with that result. I got second call out, which is a great result out of 30 again on American soil as well. My debut on American soil, so I was buzzing with that.
So how did you actually gain the entry into the...
So what you have to do is you have to take it by stages. So you start as an amateur.
Yeah.
And what you'll typically do as an amateur is you'll enter the first sort of level of show, which is a regional show.
Yeah.
And that sort of like benchmarks you where you are amongst everybody else in the country.
Yeah.
With the regional show, that allows you to win the overall title at that show, but then pushes you forward to the national final. Gives you automatic qualification if you win the overall. That being said, if you feel brave enough, you can just go straight into a pro qualifier, which you'll find that a lot of people who have probably won overalls in regional shows, one or two, they probably won't then do them anymore. They'll probably just go straight into a pro qualifier. But that's like your top standard of amateur athletes who all of them, in all honesty, in their own right, could compete on a pro stage.
Oh, so obviously you've got the IFBB Pro card, right?
Yeah.
So for people who aren't that familiar with bodybuilding, and to be fair, I'm not that familiar with bodybuilding. So what does that actually mean, having that IFBB Pro status? What does it mean?
So the IFBB Pro status allows me to compete in the professional bodybuilding world with the IFBB. With the IFBB, you get different level tiers of show.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's like 1 to 4. Where 1, for example, you've got Dubai Pro, where the open bodybuilding prize money, I think, is like 50k.
Yeah.
And then your tier 4 shows, the prize money then goes down and stuff. From obviously 1 being the top sort of prize money you'll get, and you get awarded money from like 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And then tier 4 is like your lowest level shows. But nevertheless, everybody's dream and goal when they're competing in these shows, regardless of them being tier 1 or tier 4, the dream is to become an Olympian.
Yeah.
And compete in Las Vegas at the Olympia.
Is that what the goal is for you? The end goal?
Yeah, that's the goal for me. Whatever I do on the way is great, but my dream is just to become an Olympian and be amongst one of the best, if not the best in the world.
No, that's amazing, because I think even just talking about the competition in Miami, obviously I had a little look at the lineup as well, and there were some seriously well-known athletes on that stage, like you said, Andre Dayu as well, and he's obviously gained a big following, so it must be quite a good thing that you're moving in the right direction, right? You're moving up the level slowly, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it was great just to stand next to them types of athlete who are at the top of the game. Because when I stood next to them, I was thinking it in my head, but it was great that other people confirmed it for me without me saying anything, that you can tell I wasn't the best there, but I didn't look out of place.
Yeah.
I didn't look out of place. And that for me was so reassuring, knowing that I can still just go back to the drawing board with my coach, Zach Fotheringham, and go and fine-tune things and bring a better package next time.
That's awesome. And obviously, you just mentioned Zach Fotheringham there. So he's your coach, right? Because I know he's quite a well-known, respectable coach in the bodybuilding world. Is he? It seems like you put a lot of trust into him. Has he helped you in your journey quite a bit?
Yes, I mean Zach is he's the foundation of the journey.
Yeah.
I've been bodybuilding for like over 10 years, but just over 10 years, and for a while I stopped the game because I just needed to establish myself in life, you know.
Yeah, of course.
Get a good bodybuilding's expensive, so I had to put it to a side for a minute and just establish a career, buy my house, look after my wife, my child, etc. So I'd quit for a while, and then one day I just messaged Zach, and he messaged me. We got a training session together, and he just said, "Jump back on the stage."
Let's get back on it.
Look at you. He's like, "I can make you a pro."
Yeah.
And I thought, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm serious." I was like, "Let's go." And from there, it's just been.
How long ago was that you got the pro status then?
So now I think I became pro in 2022. Yeah, 2022.
Okay, now that's some serious stuff. So let's go back to the very start. When did the bodybuilding journey start? Why did it pique your interest, even from the very beginning? How did you get into it?
So I've always been an athlete from a young age, and I come from a long line of athletes in my family and in my bloodline.
Yeah.
From my dad's side and from my mum's side. So from my mum's side, we have athletes like Sir Gary Sobers. We've got Fidel Edwards, who played cricket for West Indies. Marlon Devonish as well, second cousin. From my dad's side, my dad's Ghanaian. My mum's Belgian, my dad's Ghanaian, so you've got Asamoah Gian and stuff who are footballers, well-known footballers from back in the day.
Yeah. But you're related to him, are you?
Yeah, a lot like cousins or like second cousins.
Oh wow, you played on a serious level. You scored in the World Cup a couple of times, I think, as well, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, so I come from like a long line of like family members that are sporting personnel.
Yeah.
And then even if you look, my dad used to do a lot of cross country when he was in school. My mum used to do a lot of judo, so she was a Caribbean judo champion at one point. And then myself, I used to swim for the city of Coventry, and I was the fastest swimmer in the country at one point, over 50 breaststroke, 50 freestyle, which was great at the time because there was no black swimmers. And I was probably the most drug tested young man in the country at the time because people couldn't believe that a black swimmer could be so fast.
Wow.
After that, I sort of transitioned to track and field.
Yeah.
I got bored of the pool, and then also the pool was a bit of a high demand because to train at that elite level, at the time it was like with Adam Whitehead and stuff, who was Commonwealth gold medalist or silver medalist. Sorry, Adam. You had to train for 13, 14 times a week. Yeah. And my father wasn't happy with that because obviously it was 4 o'clock in the morning before school.
Yeah.
Come out the pool at 6, school, and come back to the pool straight after school. My dad wasn't happy with that. And because I couldn't commit to all them sessions, they sort of like dropped me down a group, and that sort of made me lose my interest and disheartened me a bit. So I transitioned then to track and field. In the track and field, I did very well, to be fair. As all young kids probably want to, I wanted to be a 100-metre sprinter. I didn't quite have the fast twitch fibres. I was in a training group with a Great Britain athlete and a great friend of mine, Joel Fearon.
Okay.
And he does 100 metres. Well, he did do 100 metres for Great Britain and bobsleigh for Great Britain as well in the Winter Olympics. But what I found very quickly is that I was actually a 400-metre runner.
Okay.
So all my training I used to do for 100, and I used to love it, and I was so quick. Not as quick as Joel, obviously, but I slowly had to transition to the 400 because that was the discipline my body was naturally good at and suited to.
When you say you were, you probably were compared to the majority of people, what would you say your 100-metre time was?
The best time I've hit over 100 metres, probably not like it was only like 10.8.
That's a serious. What I've noticed is because I've done a bit of sprinting before. If there's one thing that I found was 100 meters is still quite a distance.
Yeah.
And two, just to even like break a millisecond of a barrier is very, very tough, right? There's a lot that goes into sprinting, whether it be your form, whether it be the technique of how you run, your breathing, everything. So that's a serious time in itself, to be fair.
Yeah, it is, to be fair. And my nose used to be sprinting in training with people like Joel.
Yeah.
He would only be beating me by like 0.3 of a second, 0.4 of a second, 0.2 of a second. But that distance is actually quite far. That's actually
when you're running at those speeds.
When you're running at them speeds, that distance is very far and very measurable. So it was understandable why he went on to become an elite athlete and at the top of the level.
No, that's good stuff. So obviously we're talking about your journey into bodybuilding, right? So when was the moment that you thought, do you know what, I'm going to take this seriously? Is it when Zach said to you, right, I can make you a pro? Is that the moment you thought, all right, I want to take this a little bit more seriously?
No, it was way before that. So it was the back end of my track and field career. I remember it clear as day. We were doing rolling 120s, me, Martin Brown and Joel Fireman. And as I transitioned off the bend, I tore my bicep femoris in my hamstring. And I remember it was a cold, foggy day, evening. I hit the deck and I was injured for quite a while because obviously it's quite a significant injury. Since then, my hamstring has never been the same.
Oh, really?
And I didn't have the resources at the time to get the sort of level of treatment, the private healthcare, to recover correctly and get back to that level. So it was at that point when I had to quit the track, and I instantly found a love in the gym. And when I went to the gym for the first few weeks, these bodybuilders just approached me and they were like, your physique is crazy. Like, what do you do? And they sort of like encouraged me to do the bodybuilding. Like, well, if you don't do nothing, why don't you do bodybuilding?
How old were you at that point?
At this point, you're probably looking, this is back end of college, wasn't it? So about 17 years old at this point.
You were young then.
Yeah, still like 17 years old, probably, back end of college.
Okay.
And they just like encouraged me to go into the bodybuilding world. And from there, I've sort of like not looked back.
Okay, nice. So what was the first time that you competed then in a show? What was your first competition?
So my first competition was Future Physiques, and that was organised by Clint Jones and Kev Twigger, who own Future Fitness Gym.
Okay,
on Fargoshire Street. It was at the Standard Triumph, and I was actually, the category I actually competed in was bodybuilding. I was so tiny at the time, but I was very lean. I won that category, my show, I won my category. And I think the self-actualization of winning that show, training for that show and winning for it, that just spurred me on to want more.
That's awesome. And obviously you spoke about you spent a short period away from bodybuilding when obviously your family, you said you had a little one, you moved house or whatever it may be. What kind of keeps you mentally in the right place from a discipline and a mindset perspective? Because you mentioned as well that I think earlier, are you a fireman as well?
Yes, I'm an industrial fireman.
Yeah,
and
there's a hell of a lot.
Responder,
there's a hell of a lot going on in your life, right? So how do you keep that mindset to keep doing both? Because you've got a family to provide for. You've got obviously your job as a fireman and a first responder, and then obviously you're a bodybuilder. So that's a hell of a lot going on in your life right now.
I mean, for me, keeping busy keeps me sane.
Yeah.
So keeping busy keeps me sane, and I never want to let anybody down. So my anchor, like I call it an anchor, my anchor in life is always my family. So you'll have my immediate family, which is my wife, my daughter, and then obviously my brothers and my sister, my mum. Like, I never want to let these down. And everything that goes from everything from work ethic to reputation, how you carry yourself, helping each other, supporting each other. That's what I'll always do. And my father was the epitome of that. My father worked every hour under the sun just to ensure that his family was provided for. And that's why I do it, and that's why I'm so busy. And with the bodybuilding, it sort of like it keeps my fitness levels up because I'm always in the gym. And that's what I want to do. I'm not into really going out, and although I do it, I go out and have a drink and stuff. Like I'd prefer to be in the gym. So that's my release. That's my vice. You know, some people want to go out every Friday night. Me, I want to go to the gym every day.
It's not a bad way to live life, I think. Instead of going out every weekend, getting pissed, like you said, which I think is an easy trap to fall into, I think, for a lot of people. But obviously, you mentioned as well. So you're a fireman, you're a bodybuilder, you got a family. With the bodybuilding, how much money is there in bodybuilding? How far can it go from a business perspective? What can you do with it?
So this is the misconception for a lot of youngsters coming into the bodybuilding world. And I'm just going to be totally honest. Unless you're at the top of the game in bodybuilding, there is no money involved. So you have to be at the top of the game. So you have to be getting the wins at the big shows, and you have to have the sponsors and the endorsements. Failing that, if you're not doing that, and then if you're not monetizing your social media for whatever you want to do, whether it's being an influencer, a prep coach, a lifestyle coach, whatever you want to do, you will not make no money from it. And all you will do is you will hemorrhage money, because bodybuilding,
there's a lot of expenditure, right?
Just the food alone, the meat, if you do eat meat and stuff, is so expensive. So you have to find a way. You either have to find a way, everybody's goal to be amongst the best, the top, and then you have to find a way, a niche to monetize yourself.
Would you say that's the biggest warning then to youngsters who are thinking about going into bodybuilding and competing, that they're not perhaps aware of those kind of things, and that the money that it takes that you need to put in before you even think about getting anything out of it, right?
100%. And that's what I do try and advise to a lot of youngsters who want to go on different journeys within the bodybuilding. Obviously, I'm quite experienced in the game, so I always tell them, I'm like, this is what you're looking at for expenditure. Like, make sure you're in a comfortable position where that is coming out of your disposable income. That's an ideal position you want to be in. Don't get it wrong. There's probably a lot of people out there who thought, you know what, I'm going to take a gamble. I'm just going to throw it all out there. And it's probably paid dividends for them, but that won't happen for everybody. So I always make sure.
It's probably the exceptions, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll always make sure that my bodybuilding, it only ever comes out of my disposable income.
So what keeps you motivated with the bodybuilding then? Is it just the pure love for it? And of course, like you said, the end goal is Olympia, right? Which I'm sure there's going to be some big rewards at the end of that. So would you say combine the passion and then that end goal of Olympia that you think is probably a real possibility? Would you say that's the main driving motivation for you then?
The main driving motivation for me, if I'm very honest with everyone, is that I've always wanted to be special or part of something special. And
it's that purpose, right?
Yeah, and have a purpose. And I feel like I'm destined for something great in life.
I love that mindset. You want to be different, right? You don't want to be the same as everyone.
And I don't know what it's in, but at this moment in time, I believe it's in the bodybuilding and the drive and the passion. I genuinely believe I can be one of, if not the best in the world at this.
I love that mindset. I think it's great. Like, why would you want to be like everybody else, living a normal life? Like, I think everybody has that in them, that unique quality, but it's a case of believing in yourself enough. And I can tell already that you've got that self-belief, right? You don't know what it is at the moment. You think it's bodybuilding, but you know that you're destined for something that's big, right? Yeah,
something greater than just going to work every day and just going to work to come home. And I just feel like I have something to offer to people, to show people that there's more to life than just going to work. And my end goal with what I want to do and how I achieve is that it inspires other people to do whatever they want to do and not have that doubt in their head. I don't care even if they want to be a hairdresser or a binman or whatever. When you do it, be great.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. I think a huge part of that is probably self-belief, like you said, and I think that's really good that you're inspiring people as well. 'Cause, yeah, I think it, like you said, I think that's one of my fears is you get to 60, 70 years old, you look back on your life and you didn't really push yourself out your comfort zone to do the things to be great. And I feel like sometimes people think where you'll get people who are happy doing that. They may look at us think, oh, you're reaching a bit here. Like, what are the chances of you doing that? But sometimes you've got to enjoy the journey of trying to chase that greatness, right? And you'd rather look back on your life and think, do you know what? I gave it a good fucking crack trying to do all those things
100%.
rather than just playing it safe my whole life.
I don't want to play it safe. I even said that to my wife in the car. Like we have our chit chats, you know, when you finish work, and my commute's quite long from work. It's like a 50-minute commute. So I'll always ring my wife, and I was like, I'd rather sit on my deathbed in how many years' time and say, I tried.
Yeah. I've got the exact same mindset.
Then sitting there and thinking, you know what, I should have just pushed harder in the gym. And I pretend, you know, because you always hear the people, I could have been. I could have been. And it's like, well, why didn't you try?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's true. I think that sometimes there's risks that need to be taken, pushing yourself out your comfort zone. I feel like sometimes doing the things that you may initially suck at, or people may think is silly at the start, but eventually when you keep chipping away, and obviously look at you over time now where you are and the shows you're competing at, but people haven't seen what you've had to go through, right, for all those years, the sacrifices, the hard work you've had to put in, but it starts somewhere. You've got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it really ignited to me when my father died. So my father died in September 2023.
Okay, so it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. And when he was on his deathbed, my dad always wanted, as a dad, safety and security for your sons. Get a job, do this, do that, do that. Bodybuilding is just this.
It's that generation's thinking though. They just want to play
I
it
don't know
safe
if
kind of
obviously
thing.
it's a podcast. My dad's a freshie, so my dad's from Ghana originally, and came over to this country. So for him, from what he's come to give us this opportunity, he always just wanted us to be safe and secure. But when he was on his deathbed, he held my hand and he just said, "Do what makes you happy, son." He's like, "Do what makes you happy. I've done all this in life. I've saved this money. I've done this. I've done that, and blah blah blah. And look, I can't even enjoy it now because I didn't even know I was dying." And that really hit hard on my soul. And since the recovery of the trauma, it sort of kickstarted me to be like, no, I'm going to make a real beeline for this bodybuilding now.
No, fair play. And I think that's it's an important insight to have. And to be fair, it all hit me when I turned 30 and I realised, fucking hell, my 20s have gone just like that. And I probably did waste a lot of my 20s not doing the things that I should have been doing and playing it safe, doing the 9 to 5, going out on the weekends. And before I know it, I'm in my 30s. And then it was at that point I realised I need to be really present and do the things now that I really want to do and push myself out my comfort zone to do those things, because before you know it, I'll be 40 and I won't have done any of those things, right? You don't want to look back on your life and think, do you know what, you didn't give it a good crack. You didn't put your all into life. You want to be able to do the things. You want to be able to take risks. You want, like I said, push yourself out your comfort zone. So no, it's a really important thing, and it's good to see you doing what you're doing.
Cheers.
But one of the things I wanted to talk about was your training philosophy. I think a lot of people want to pick your brains and get your advice on training. So tell us a little bit about your kind of your training splits, your diet. How is that for you? How does that work? Have you got any advice for other potential bodybuilders?
So for me, I'm a true believer that fitness is true believer. Fitness is a science, and science is a theory. So you have to trial and error. For me personally, I'm happy working a bro split. So I'll have a dedicated day for chest and triceps, back and buys and legs and X, Y, and Z.
What's better though? Let me tell you, what's better, the bro split or push pull? I've always been a bro split type of person. I've never actually done push pull, but what would you say?
In my opinion, I prefer the bro split because you can then really home in on a muscle group and really work it and push it to its maximum potential. But again, it's going to depend on your lifestyle to what suits you. So if, for example, if you're a businessman or woman, push-pull legs is probably going to be more ideal for you because you're going to need to, yes, I'm going to need to get the not the pheromones, the endorphin rush and the fitness in the morning before work, but time is money for them. So push-pull legs will be more ideal for someone like who's a businessman or woman, whereas someone who's like myself, a bro split is more ideal.
Do mainly bodybuilders do the bro split then, would you say?
In this day and age, back in my day when I first started, it was always a bro split for a bodybuilder. But nowadays, there's a lot of bodybuilders that do push days and
personal,
days.
Right? Like whatever works best for them and their bodies and how it reacts.
Yeah, because I've had a few people, like for example, my little brother, he's tried to push-pull leg split, and for him, he's like, it just doesn't agree with his joints, for example.
Okay.
It's like, it's a lot of stress on my joints. And
Yeah.
obviously, you've got to look at how you're doing the split, because with a push-pull leg split, I like to put it into blocks of 2 weeks. So you do push-pull legs, but the second week will be a different push-pull and different legs. So you'll do different compounds and different isolation movements over them 2 weeks, because otherwise, definitely your joints are gonna take a battering.
No, I can imagine. What about frequency then? How many times a week would you say you're training on an off season?
Training, I always go to aim to train 5 days a week.
Yeah,
5 days a week.
I guess the rest is important as well, right? To let your muscles recover.
Yeah, rest is important, especially for someone like myself who's into bodybuilding and you're looking for the aesthetics and the look, because the more you batter your body, you're going to inhibit stress hormones in the body. And then with stress hormones, you get the inflammation as well.
Yeah.
And when the inflammation makes the look softer.
One thing that I always thought from trying to be in a bodybuilder's perspective that must be really frustrating is that all the hard work you put in, the result that you get from it is very dependent on, is it 1, 2 or 3 people's opinion based on how you look? Have there ever been any periods where you've been placed in a particular competition and you don't agree with what the judges have said? Have you ever had that, or do you have to take it quite humbly and just take it on board?
Yeah, there's always going to be times as a bodybuilder when you get that, and I've had that 100%. But at the end of the day, if you're coming into bodybuilding, and I'll say this to anybody who's into bodybuilding or anybody who wants to get into it, bodybuilding is subjective. So
be prepared for it.
Yeah, be prepared for it.
Yeah.
You might think, people might in the crowd be like, yep, you've won. And you know what? You come off the stage, you come sixth.
Yeah. Is that frustrating though? Has that ever happened to you? Like when you think, oh, I've got this in the bag and it hasn't quite happened?
Yeah, I think I
Is it anger? What's that feeling?
I competed in
Bedford. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, I competed in Bedford one time under a different federation. This is like years ago, probably about 8 years ago. And my little brother, he was like, what's happened there? You've not even come top 5. I was like, I don't know. He's like, Jamaine, you walked on stage and even the guy behind me said, that guy in the blue shorts, that was me.
Yeah.
He's won. He looks class. And I didn't even place. And at the time, when you do hear the result and stuff, it's upset. Because you've prepped for...
That's what I mean. There's so much
16,
goes into it,
24 weeks to be judged by someone for 5 minutes, especially when you feel like I've done enough here and I'm the best, and you don't get the result. It's upset. It's frustration. I wouldn't say it's anger. But whereas you do see a few people getting angry, for me it's more upset, frustration, and it's almost like I feel like I'm at the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
You know?
And with regards to how they do judge you, what is it that judges look for? Let's talk specifically your men's physique category. Is it symmetry? Is it size? Or what is it that they look for?
So it's a balance of things. So you're looking at symmetry is massively important in men's physique.
Yeah.
abs, how your abs and obliques are lined up. That's massively
But I've
important.
noticed that with some people's abs, they're like perfectly lined, right? And some people's are like, they can be ripped as anything, but they're staggered. Does that make a difference?
It's genetic build-up.
Because you can't do anything about that, right?
you can't do anything.
Does it make a difference, though?
Potentially, it could make the difference.
So nothing you have control over, but one judge may particularly prefer the abs that are completely symmetrical rather than the ones that are staggered. I don't know if there's a name for that. Or
the top three athletes in men's physique in the world, they've all got perfectly symmetrical abs.
Yeah,
perfectly symmetrical, even down to the obliques and the serratus, perfectly symmetrical.
Wow,
do you know what I mean?
It's a kick in the teeth if you haven't got symmetrical abs.
But again,
it can still be done.
You can make points elsewhere.
Yeah,
that's the difference. So symmetry, you can pick up points. Conditioning.
Yeah.
How shredded you are. I think that's the word, but we'd say conditioning. How conditioned you are. Your posing. With your posing, bodybuilding is an illusion. So even if you've got weak areas, you can hide them.
It's a very good point.
You pose correctly.
Yeah.
And that's, you'll find, I'll be open and admit, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from the front, me personally, I couldn't do a Superman pose where you just stand front on 2 hands on the hips because my lats don't come out wide enough from the front to give me the illusion like an X-taper. So that's why I have to turn to the side and that gives you the massive illusion that my waist is so tiny. You know?
Do you know what? It's really about illusion and perspective then, isn't it?
100%.
It's interesting.
If you can pose, you can more or less...
It's a huge part of it, the posing, right? Because I always hear bodybuilders talk about the time they put into their posing, and I'm like, oh, why do they? Because the main thing's about your physique, right? But this is why, because it is about illusion and perspective.
100%. If you can pose well, you can more or less win a show, regardless of what you look like genetically, conditioned. Some people can not be as conditioned, and still win a show because the posing, you're just drawn to it.
Yeah.
You know, the stage presence. As soon as you see someone, you're just drawn to it.
It's a big thing, right? Stage presence. And to be fair, I saw the video you posted when you were at that Miami Pro, and there was definitely some real stage presence there. Did you feel like you had the stage presence and you were where you were meant to be?
It's strange because when you're up there, for me, it's almost like a deer in headlights.
Yeah,
it's like a deer in headlights.
It comes with experience, right, as well.
When I seen that video, I didn't think I looked that good. I was like, wow, I actually did very well. Do you know what I mean? Because I was nervous.
Yeah, of course, you would be.
I was very nervous. And when I'm nervous, what I realise that sometimes I tense up in my poses.
Okay.
And even Zach says that.
Okay.
So Zach, before I went on stage, Zach's just grabbing me like, pretend it's just a check-in.
Pretend
it's just a check-in. Relax, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it is nerve-wracking. But the stage presence, I think I'm a natural performer.
Yeah.
I've done the sports where I'm in the stadiums in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
I like the glory. I like winning. So
like you said,
being in front of people,
like we spoke about mindset before, you want to be different, right? You want to do something great. So even as I think those people, as uncomfortable as it may be to put themselves forward into those moments, you also kind of thrive on it, I bet, as well, because you know it's where you're meant to be.
100%. Like I thrive off it. I like the attention.
Yeah. It's
I'm
good
a bodybuilder, so
this is the thing.
Need attention.
This is the thing I say to people as well. Want to be the main character.
Yeah.
Don't be idolizing other people too much. Kind of idolize yourself. Be the main character and romanticize your own life in a type of way, right? So saying that you like attention, I think that's a good thing as well. Why not?
I do. I like attention. I like people not thanking me. People like passing me compliments and are inspired by me because I like that the fact that they've acknowledged that I'm trying so hard.
Yeah.
And I'm putting in the hard work and it's inspiring them to put in the hard work too. Yeah. It's a great feeling. And then for someone like, if we're going back way in the years when I was probably looking about 6-7 years old, I used to be a fat child. So that's why my mum pushed me into sports to lose a bit of weight. So then getting bullied all those years as a youngster, that's still traumatic for me. And then now having the physique that, well, can you bully me for my physique now? No, nobody's calling me fatty anymore. Do you know what I mean? And people are just have given me compliments. I don't know how to handle the compliments. I'll be honest, when people say you look, cheers, mate. I don't know what to say, so I apologise if I seem off or whatever. I don't really know how to handle it, but deep down in my heart, it's
You're
like
very
it's
grateful.
warming.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. One of the other things that I wanted to talk to you about as well is PED usage, which is performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
Is it possible to compete at the level that you're at without being on any performance enhancing drugs?
Yes.
It is.
It is. It's more than possible. And there's plenty of athletes out there to prove it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's using the PEDs it varies from person to person. And yeah, do you know what? Genetics is also going to play a massive part in that. Because is your genetic gene pool going to allow you to build muscle to that capacity? Is your genetic gene pool going to allow you to get condition to that capacity?
Yeah.
Can you do it naturally? 100% you can.
Yeah.
Because there's IFBB pro shows, natural pro shows.
Oh, was there natural pro shows?
There's the natural amateur shows.
Yeah.
And then in the massive final, you all just compete together.
Okay, I didn't know that. So the category that you're in, is it the natural or is it
I just come under the blanket of everybody competes together.
Okay, awesome. Because I know now in this day and age, it's and I know there's very safe ways of doing it now, right? In terms of getting your blood work checked and things like that. So done under the right conditions, it can be done properly. But obviously with things like social media and whatnot out there now, there's a lot of pressure on men to stay in shape and to look the part. And what advice would you give to people? Because I know there are a lot of people who are competing now or want to compete, who are taking performance enhancing drugs. What's the advice that you would give to them about doing that? Is it, because I'm sure like with anything, there's pros and cons to it, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, what I'd like to just say is just anybody, men, women, just feel comfortable in your body. Don't feel no pressure to look a certain way or be a certain way. You look and feel how you feel best. People like myself, and if somebody is a true bodybuilder and a humble bodybuilder, they won't care how you look. They will just care that you're putting in the effort you want to put into working out or doing whatever you want to do, and you're happy.
Yeah.
In terms of moving on to the advice about the PEDs, there is safer, viable options of doing it, yes. Please, if you're going to do it, have your blood works checked and have them checked regularly. And never, ever fall under the radar, which a lot of people unfortunately do, and I see this and hear about it all the time, is thinking more is better. It's not.
Yeah.
It's having, to get the best results, it's actually having balanced blood work. So if you're doing more and your blood work is unbalanced, you're not going to get the result you want. And then sometimes you'll even see lads, he's doing this and this and this in the gym, and it's like, well, he doesn't even look like he's taking PEDs. And that's because his blood work's all over the place.
Okay.
Please, if you're going to do it, research it, get some help off somebody who is well educated in the department. Yes, it's going to be expensive, but your life.
So is your life and your health, right?
Yeah, life and your health are worth a lot more.
Yeah. Okay. So with PED usage then, because I know people, if you're competing, you may want to do it for a particular show, but there's also people now who are casual gym goers and are taking PEDs, and also people that are taking it year round. Is there any risk in that, taking PEDs year round?
If I'm honest, that's not a question I can answer because I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
But me personally, on my opinion, I wouldn't take it year round.
Yeah.
But again, like the government openly give men TRT.
Yeah. This is what I mean.
Replacement
There's
therapy.
so many.
That's going to be year round.
It's becoming the norm now, right?
Yeah.
which is why I asked, because it was a bit of a taboo, I think, maybe about 10 years ago. But I think now as health and fitness is starting to boom even more now, and people caring about how they look, how they feel, I think head usage is so common now. And I don't think, I'm not even knocking it. I think it's just become a very common thing because it can be done under much safer environments now. So I think I think now the knowledge with it needs to perhaps increase for those people, because I know people will probably do it under the wrong circumstances, and instead, like you said, unless you're under the wrong supervision as well. So
and I think it's more of a taboo just in Britain, to be fair.
you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's a Britain thing.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because whenever I go and travel around the world,
Talk about it openly.
it's open.
Yeah.
It's like men and women talk about it openly.
Okay. Why do you think that is here then?
I'm not too sure. I'm going into a rabbit hole here.
Yeah.
But maybe I feel like in this country, we don't get a lot of summertime. So there's no massive real pressure in Britain to stay in shape
That's a good point.
all year round, is there?
Good point.
Whereas if you're in...
There's no beaches around here.
Exactly. If you're in a country where you've got beaches, you've got a 6-month summer, 8-month summer, you've got that... You want to look good. You constantly, because you're on the beach and it's normal.
Yeah.
Like it's just normal going to the gym, doing X, Y, Z. It's just normal.
Yeah.
Like I remember in school, a lot of the girls didn't even want to do PE.
Yeah.
Whereas when I used to go to Barbados on holiday, we used to go for like months on end.
Yeah.
You'd get the back end of school over there.
Yeah.
Every girl is in PE.
Yeah.
You'd go to United States, America. Every girl is in PE.
Yeah.
Whereas here, there's no that. You were always under that impression where it's like, okay, because there's not really in a summer. There's no
get away with
reason
it.
to. You're always covered up in Britain.
Yeah. No, it's a very.
It's a bit of a rabbit hole, that one.
No, it's a very good point. What would you say has been your biggest setback when it comes to bodybuilding, and how did you overcome it?
So my biggest setback when it comes to bodybuilding, keeping control of the discipline, and the off season. It's so easy. My worst trait in bodybuilding is when I come off season, is to not keep the discipline as strict.
How important is what are you even meant to do in off season? Is it just about bulking as much as you can?
Off season is about making improvements.
Yeah.
But once you've dieted down, you need to reverse diet to make sure your metabolism's not shot.
Yeah.
To make sure your thyroid's still working correctly, organs are still in good health.
So whereas
if you come from just where I am now, currently dieting, and then all of a sudden I'm off season now, Macca's, KFC, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna be in a bad way inside. Internally, you're gonna be in a bad way, and outside the look, you're not gonna get the results and the gains you want.
Yeah.
And I've been guilty of that in the past.
Yeah,
I've been guilty of that in the past. Like I've been dieting for that long. I come to the off season, and it's just like I do the reverse diet, and then after that, and I'm just like, someone just give me a Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
13 Krispy Kremes down. Someone give me a McDonald's.
I've actually seen bodybuilders, and again, I don't know how they're meant to do this. I've seen bodybuilders who will be having they somehow manufacture it into their diets to have the donuts, have the Krispy Kremes or whatever it may be. Can that be done, or would you say that's them trying to manipulate it in a way to get it in, but really they shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff if you're trying to compete at a high level?
I suppose for me, that's like a bodybuilder that's doing that, they'd probably have like a macro split.
Yeah.
Whereas I've got like, I'm structured.
Yeah.
So Zach tells me what to eat.
Okay.
Like every meal he tells me what to eat, down to even how much salt I need on my food.
Wow. Obviously, you spoke about Zach a few times here, and I've heard of him myself. He's built up quite a reputation for himself. Without blowing his trumpet too much, why has he built such a good reputation for himself?
Zach has been in the industry I've known Zach for over 11 years.
He's competed himself, right?
Yeah,
as well.
And he's been in the industry before that.
Yeah.
He's got a wealth of knowledge. He's competed himself. He doesn't just talk the talk, he's walked the walk.
Yeah.
He's competed at a high level. His physique has been fantastic. Even now, he's let himself go. Hey, his physique is still great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zach has a no bullshit approach as well.
Yeah.
He's not one of these typical online coaches who's just going to tell you what you want to hear just to retain you and keep your money.
Yeah.
I've known Zach to tell clients, check in, please. Have you done this? No, I'm not doing it. Not checking in, ignoring him. Cool. By the way, we're going to have to come to an end to this agreement. And Zach's just giving them their money back as well.
Wow.
Because he's serious about this.
Because I guess that probably kills his passion for it as well, right? He wants to be able to feed off your energy as well.
Exactly. Like he has so much passion to give and so much knowledge, and he can produce the results. I think Zach has built the massive part of his reputation being so great is that it's a no bullshit approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's not sugarcoating my check-ins.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the great part of the process, I love checking because I know he's going to give me an honest answer.
You'll get an honest review, right?
If I go to my little brother, yeah, you look great. I go to my wife, yeah, you look great.
Yeah.
Zach will tell me.
I think that's the type of coach you need, not just in bodybuilding, but in all kind of sports or professions, right? Somebody will tell you the honest truth to get the best out of you, right?
Well, 100%. Well, because that's what you'd expect even just from your best friend, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just tell me the truth, whether it hurts or not.
You would, yeah. You would. It's the only way that you can progress and move forward. If you keep thinking you're on the top of the world when there's improvements to make, how are you going to move forward, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And how long have you been with Zach, would you say?
Been with Zach now, consistently now for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then before that, Zach has been my coach probably for the best part in total, about 5-6 years.
Okay. I'm sure it'll go on for a fair bit longer now that you're...
I'm not moving anywhere. Until he wants to get rid of me, I ain't going nowhere.
How long are you hoping to compete in bodybuilding now? Because it must take its toll on your body and whatnot, right?
To be fair, until
you can no longer do it,
no day's day, I'll just keep going.
Fair play to you.
I'll jump in the Masters League after this and keep going in the Masters League.
I like that.
Be grandpa competing.
Good stuff. Obviously, we spoke about social media a little bit and in bodybuilding and being able to utilize that from even a financial perspective. Obviously, you want to be able to kind of monetize your brand as much as possible. What can you tell us about building your brand and how important that is now for you as you're moving up through the levels? Is that something that you're trying to zero in on a lot more now?
100%. So,
do you know what? I've noticed that you're in front of the camera a lot more on your profile, and I like that a lot. It feels a lot more kind of personable, getting to know you, what you're doing in everyday life.
And that's what I'm trying to do. Before, I was a bit like nervous of what people would think.
I was like that, yeah.
They're going to slate me in the comments. Do you know what I mean? They're going to... But now I'm just like, listen, like I said earlier, this is
You pushed yourself into it now, right?
I might think this, you might not think it. Cool, we'll agree to disagree. If you don't want to watch my page, don't watch my page.
That's a very big thing. So I remember when I first started doing it, and I probably looked cringy in front of a camera.
Yeah.
But I think this is the one thing that people are often fear of putting themselves out there because of fear of judgment.
100%.
And they think they need to look amazing from the get-go. Like they'll look at other people and how good they are, but what they didn't see is what that person went through to get to where they are now.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you do have to go through perhaps not looking at as great in front of a camera to start with. Even me, when I first started podcasting, I was absolutely fucking terrified.
Yeah.
But now slowly I think I'm improving. And yeah, you've got to take those little steps. You've got to push yourself into the uncomfort a little bit, right? That's why I love that you started doing that. And I rate anyone that does it on social media because there will be people that love it and really rate you for it. But there will be people who will be gossiping and there'll be people saying, oh, why is he doing that? But if there's one thing that I've always been told as well is if everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong. You're being a bit of a fool. 100%. But if you've got people that love you and people that hate you, they're still going to watch you, so you're doing something right.
Well, this is what I mean. People are hating and people are gossiping, but they're still spending time and minutes out of their day they'll never get back to watch you.
Exactly.
And they're helping your algorithm.
100%. It's the one thing I've had to kind of embed into myself because fear of judgment was always a big thing. I was like, people are going to think I'm being cringe. They're going to think why am I talking about this and that and about my day? No one cares about your day, but there's people that do that are following your journey, getting inspiration from your journey, which I'm sure they are with you.
Thank you.
So I think that's what you need to kind of focus on, right? And I said, with the haters, you just take it in your stride, right? And know that they're still watching you.
Yeah, I mean, still, they're your biggest fans. They're going to be most loyal to you.
They probably are, yeah.
They're the most loyal to you because they're waiting for you to mess up. They're just waiting for you to mess up so they can just say, boom, look, we got him. Or we've got him. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is. I've got over that fear of judgment now. What I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to monetize my social media. I love helping people and just making them feel comfortable in their own body. They don't have to be a bodybuilder. I'm not saying come to advice for me to be a bodybuilder. I say to my wife, if you want to be in shape, you want to be in shape. If you don't want to be in shape, don't be in shape. No pressure.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
This is a me thing.
Yeah.
You be how you're comfortable.
Yeah, of course.
I'll love you regardless.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
course.
You're the most beautiful woman in my eyes, regardless. And what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to create a brand where I'm helping everyone, not just bodybuilders, but people with general lifestyles, busy lifestyles, single parents. Do you know what I mean? I want to just make everybody feel happy and comfortable in their own body.
You want to be relatable, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, no, I think that's an important thing because there is pressure on people nowadays. Like people might look at you and think, okay, I'm never going to get to that standard. But I think that's a really important message that you're saying, that you need to love yourself and how you are as a person first, right? And your body before you even think about doing anything else, like whether it be bodybuilding or whatnot. So no, I think that's a really, really important message. I like that. What about sponsorship as well? Is that an important thing for you at the moment as well? I think you're hooked up with a couple of sponsors as well, right? Are you still welcoming more sponsors on who may potentially be watching this?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm always happy for a sponsor. I appreciate anybody that wants to sponsor me because it helps me a lot. We've spoken about bodybuilding being so expensive and it helps me a lot. And I love working with reputable brands to help give people who follow me, my friends and God knows who else, reputable companies to go to, because there is a lot of garbage out there nowadays. So I love to work with the sponsors. I'd like to thank 10X for my supplement sponsor, Gasp as well for my clothing, RP Peptides as well. We were talking about the peptides earlier. And yeah, I'm welcoming anybody, Better Bodies as well. Thank you. Do you know what I mean?
That's a fair few link ups there, which is good to hear. Like I said, I think sponsors are crucial at this stage, right? Like you said, your end goal is Olympia, and to get there, you need all the support you can get, right? 100%. So for potential sponsors, now's the time to jump on board, I think. So no, that's good stuff.
And also Viagen as well. Thank you.
Another one. Yeah, there we go. Like we're slowly coming towards the end of the podcast, but I want to do a bit of a quick fire round with you with a few questions.
Awesome.
What would you say your favourite cheat meal is?
Pizza or burger?
Pizza or burger?
Yeah, I can't decide.
What pizza?
Pizza.
What pizza specifically?
Oh, I'm going meat feast.
Meat feast?
Yeah.
I like that. Dream physique, past or present?
Frank Zane.
Nice. Most overrated fitness myth?
Loads of sit-ups will give you abs.
Yeah, I think it's got to be that, isn't it? I remember me doing that when I was about 12 years old. Here's a good one. What's your gym pet peeve?
People who make people feel uncomfortable in the gym. I hate that. Like, it actually boils me piss.
Yeah. Give me some examples.
So, for example, I was in one gym, I'm not going to mention it, and someone wanted to use a bench, and some guy was standing up doing bicep curls, and he had his phone on the bench, and the person come out, can I use the bench? No, I'm using it. I went over and I was like, maybe I was a bit aggy because I'm in prep, but I was like, mate, you're not using the bench.
Yeah.
Like, why are you behaving like that for? I was like, what if I tell you I want to use this bench now?
Yeah.
My little brother was like, calm down. I was like, oh no, because this is why people don't want to come to the gym.
Yeah, no, it's true. It becomes an uncomfortable environment, right?
There's people like him, like, okay, because I try to cover up as much as I can in the gym as well, because sometimes just the look of me makes people feel uncomfortable. Yeah. I'll always try and smile and make people feel welcome and stuff. But when you've got people behaving like that in a gym, that's why people are nervous to come to the gym, don't want to come to the gym, and then they're putting their life on hold for your behaviour. No, don't like it. Don't make people feel uncomfortable in the gym.
You want it to be a welcoming place, right? And you know what? If there's one thing that I noticed, bodybuilders who probably do have the biggest, scariest physiques are probably the ones who are the most kind of humble and down to earth, right? Which is hilarious.
Yeah, just a quick one. I mean, sometimes when we're prepping for show, we're going to look moody, but if you just say hello to us, we're the happiest, and we will help you with anything.
Yeah. To be fair, funnily enough, I think I remember this is a long time ago. I'd been admiring you from a distance, and I think it was in Capital Gym.
Yes.
You've trained there before, right? Yeah, so it must have been you. And I think there are a couple of lads training. I think they must have weighed under about 7 stone, probably about 13 years of age, young kids, and they were trying to curl like 20 kg dumbbells. I think you just gave them some nice advice. You're like, listen, like, and I was watching, and you were like, listen, go a bit lighter. You said something not a patronising way, but you're like, just focus more on the squeeze and the contraction, and that'll help with your growth. And that was nice because there's a couple of kids who didn't know much of what they were doing, and it'd be easy to look and judge, but instead of doing that, you went over and you just offered a helping hand, which again is, see how that stayed in my mind. And that must have been from about a good 5 to 10 years ago. I remember that. So
I mean, for me, that was just like I was watching an injury about to happen.
Do you remember it? You've probably done it so many times. I don't think you do remember it.
But yeah, if I'm watching stuff like that, I'm like, I don't want this injury to happen. That's going to be so uncomfortable for that person. They're obviously trying to build muscle. Let's give them the best and most efficient way to build muscle and create that foundation.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I'll be honest, I get a bit nervous with doing that because I don't want people to look at me and think, oh, just because he's a bodybuilder and looks like this, he thinks he knows.
Yeah.
But I mean, feel free, if you need some advice, just come over to me in the gym. I'll chat to you. It's not a problem.
See, it's strange. You never know what impact you're making. Like, it stayed in my mind all these years. So, yeah, there you go. What would you say makes a great gym for a bodybuilder? Like, if you're looking for your ideal gym, what are the main things that you think it needs?
It needs great light.
Lighting's a good one.
It's a great light. As a bodybuilder, we're always looking at ourselves. But you want a sort of family environment. I know that sounds weird because we're not families, but like that cohesion. Okay, let's say more team cohesion environment.
Yeah.
And I walk past everyone. I want to be, you're right, bro. You're right.
Yeah.
You're okay. And I think
welcoming, right?
Yeah, and that's created from the owner, I believe. The owner sets the tone.
Sets the tone,
Because that's the first person, the owner and the gym staff, they're the first people you see.
Trickles down as well, right?
Yeah. And how they behave towards the customers with the Batari's box, with the psychology, they will then mimic that behaviour and then and pass it on around the gym. So you see a moody gym owner or moody staff member to the customer's going to be moody. They're going to start doing it to the other customer. It's just a knock-on effect.
It's a very, very good point because it does have that domino effect, right?
Batari's box, it's a bit like humans. We mimic each other all the time. If I sat here and crossed my legs, eventually you'd probably cross your legs if I went like this.
Yeah.
Because humans like to mimic each other.
Definitely. That's a very good point. Last couple of questions. Probably a most important one. What's next for you now?
So next for me, in about 3 weeks today, I'll be going to Italy to compete.
Oh, wow.
In the Big Flex weekend, Olympia qualifier.
Oh, Olympia qualifier.
Yeah.
Oh, so you could potentially be competing in Olympia then?
Yeah, so I've got to win this show. It's going to be a massive feat.
Do you have to win it?
You have to win, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I go into every show. I know I'm not a top dog at the moment, but my self-belief will not allow me to compete and not believe that I cannot win.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll go into every show thinking and knowing I can win. If I tick every box and do everything perfect, I can win, and that's a possibility.
Is there anything that you can actually do now from the Miami show and the feedback you got to improve? Is there even enough time now, or is it about just enhancing on whatever you can?
So what me and Zach are looking at the moment is looking at bringing in a fuller physique.
Yeah.
So I was 4 kilos under my cap. So my maximum weight limit, I was 4 kilos under it.
Why was that intentional, or?
Just because I've not got the muscle mass. Like once I've got the condition, the muscle mass was not big enough. So that's something I can only achieve in the off season because I need a year, 18 months, 2 years to grow. But what we're going to look at for this show, the improvement is to look at a fuller physique.
Yeah.
So we're going to carb up a bit more. So the glycogen stores in the muscles are a lot fuller, and it gives the illusion of the bigger muscle groups.
Interesting. So, no, that's good to hear, and fingers crossed for you.
Cheers, thank you.
So when's that next week?
That's in 3 weeks' time.
3 weeks'
in
time.
Milan, yeah.
Oh, in Milan.
Yeah.
Nice. Like, who are you going out there with?
Initially, I'll fly out on my own, and then I'm hoping my wife and daughter will join me on show day, and then we'll all come back together after a few days after.
Good stuff. Well, that brings me on to my final question, which we already touched on anyway, with what is the end goal for Jamaine, and it is Olympia, right? And so this could potentially have a big impact on that. But I think either way, you'll come away from it with lessons learned, right? Whether you win, whether you don't, it'll be some important lessons to take forward.
Definitely. No one's masters in their craft. If you ever think you're a master in whatever craft you do, you're a fool. Yeah. So every time we go in and we speak to the judges and we have a look on stage and I'll speak to my coach, Zach, there's always lessons to be learned.
Yeah.
You win, there's still lessons to be learned. Do you know what I mean? My mum always said, even if you're at the top, you're at the top to be beaten.
Yeah. So, it becomes even harder in some ways, right? Because you're the one that everyone's gunning for.
Exactly. So there's always lessons to learn.
That's good to hear. Well, Jamaine, thank you for coming on the podcast. It was great to talk to you and just to learn a little bit more about bodybuilding as well.
Awesome.
Because I wasn't too familiar with it. So, no, that was great to hear about your journey. And, I'm sure you'll make it to that Olympia stage. You've got the presence. I can feel it. And you've got the drive and you've got the mentality to go with it as well, which I think is great. So, thank you for watching, guys. And, Jamaine, if anybody does want to follow your journey, on social media, what's your social media handles?
Yeah, so it's just my name, Jermaine Donkor. That's Instagram, Twitter, TikTok as well. TikTok is Donks024.
That'll find you, right?
Yeah, that's me, 024 Coventry dialing code on the phone.
Good stuff, man. It's good to hear. But and even sponsors, if you're interested, reach out to Jamaine. It's an important part of his journey, and probably the right stage for you to get involved as well. Otherwise, follow his journey closely. I think he's going to be on to some really big things. And thank you again for coming on.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Cheers. Awesome.
All good. Kurt. A big shout out to our sponsors and partners, Gym Pro Apparel. They're making waves in the health and fitness industry at the moment. They've got some great gym wear for men and women, so be sure to check them out in the link below.